Hey, Bulls and Bears, back with another dose of economic reality. Thank you for being here. Things are looking pretty scary out there to me. We've got a lot of news to get into. I wanted to bring a few articles to your attention today and talk about what's really happening. Now, we know that there's two economies happening right now. Wall Street, the Wall Street economy, is doing very well. Main Street, not so much. Most Main Streeters, as we like to call them, living paycheck to paycheck. 75% of people living in debt, in some sort of debt. The top 10%, however, the group that owns about 90% of all stocks, doing pretty well. Dow Jones still hovering about 36,000. So the top 10%, yes, continuing to laugh all the way to the bank, while the bottom 90% for the most part living paycheck to paycheck. So when you see this big stock market run up, you may be feeling pretty good about your 401k, but the people that are really laughing all the way to the bank, they are the top 10% that owns, again, about 90% of all stocks. Right? And sure, my 401k is going up, but guess what? It's not keeping up with the cost of inflation. Let's get into the news here. Now, we've talked about the Great Resignation, and so many people are quitting their jobs. Now, one of the big, sorry, let me cover up this ad. Let me get in the way of this ad. One of the big reasons why these news articles are saying that people are quitting is because people are retiring early. But I don't really buy into that too much because the cost of living is going up so much. The people that I know that are thinking about retiring or close to retiring are actually working longer because they're worried about the cost of living and not being able to make it while being retired and not having a bigger income to keep up with this cost of living. So I've been talking to people that have been delaying retirement. Please let me know what you think. Do you know people that are retiring early, or are the people that you know staying in the labor force longer to try to get a better grip on what's going to be ahead of them, to work longer, get a bigger retirement? Most people I know that are working and thinking about retiring are still going to be hanging in there for at least a few more years. Right, but it's not just the average worker that's quitting, or what they like to tell us, retiring early. Take a look at this next article. And CNN had a nice business write-up on this, CNN Business. CEOs are joining the Great Resignation. So we're seeing a much higher number of CEOs retiring versus previous years. And you would think with this big economic recovery that we're in right now that more CEOs are wanting to be hanging on to their job because great times are ahead of us, right? Well, no, why are more CEOs quitting? Is there something that they know? Do they see something on the horizon? Is the writing on the wall? Please let me know what you think about this. And this article goes on to say, new findings illustrate how CEOs are not immune to the exhaustion that has swept hundreds of millions of workers worldwide since the onset of the pandemic, pushed many to consider a new job or lifestyle. Right, again, we have to ask the question, if we are truly in this amazing economic recovery like so many of the business channels, the business news channels are telling us, then most of the CEOs should be staying put and enjoying the good times. Folks, so there's a lot of bad things out there that are happening right now. It's not just that people want to retire early because they made so much money in the stock market that they can now retire. I don't think that's true. I mean, maybe a lot of these CEOs are in the top 10%. Maybe they did make a lot of money when the stock market ran up, but are they just going to quit their jobs and go off to the beach and never work again? Usually you don't see that. Usually when people make a lot of money in the markets, they keep going because greed, right? Did Warren Buffett stop after his first couple $1,000,000? Did a lot of these big billionaires stop after their first couple $1,000,000? No, that's why they ended up mega billionaires, right? So greed takes over. I don't think people are quitting because they're getting rich in the stock market. I think there's something bigger happening, and we're not being told the whole truth, if you know what I mean. And now let's talk about last week's jobless numbers. Another 268,000. Of course, they're going to say that's great news because it's the 7th straight week that the number got lower. But keep in mind, the labor force participation rate is, and pretty soon, how many people are going to be left working to even quit their jobs? So is the number getting lower because the economy is getting better? And like we talk about every time this number comes out, multiply it by 4, we're still over 1 million each month, right? Because this is a weekly number. We're still losing 1 million jobs each month. and adding much less than a million. So we're still headed in the wrong direction. Please do not let these people fool you into thinking that we're in some amazing recovery. Now, maybe you are, maybe you're making more money now than ever, and I hope you are. But if you are, keep in mind you are likely in the minority for how people are doing right now when you look at the cost of living, cost of everything going up. Gas is really striking our household pretty bad. As I mentioned, I don't have to work. I don't have to commute to work, rather. But we have a couple kids that go to different schools, so we're kind of running around a bit in our vehicles. And we have V6s. We like SUVs, Honda Pilots, that are pretty good on gas for being SUVs. But when you have a lot of little trips back and forth several times a day, it can really add up. And this $4 and on the gas, still under $5 in my area, but it's coming pretty close to $5. You have to look around to find it anywhere near $4.50 where I'm at, anyways. And could that be part of the picture also? So many people leaving the labor force, they see the cost of living, the cost of commuting, car insurance going up, everything going up. Is it even worth it to try to be in the rat race? Are people choosing to exit the rat race? Maybe that's what it is. All right, but back to this article, CNBC is saying that millions of people quitting their jobs, what they call the Great Resignation, they're saying it may not last long. And they're saying it's just temporary concerns regarding the health crisis is why so many people are quitting their jobs. That sounds kind of familiar. Doesn't that sound like transitory inflation? Remember over a year ago, oh, the inflation's transitory. And then we told you here that no, prices are probably going to keep going up because everything that caused this mess is getting worse. And as things get more expensive here in the United States, as more people scream for higher wages, companies are going to be looking to go to other places where the labor is cheaper. So yes, things are going to continue to get worse. Don't expect a big boom or manufacturing boom or jobs boom. You may see a lot of people spending more money, but keep in mind a lot of people are spending more because everything is more expensive. So when they tell you everybody's rich because the consumer spending is so much higher, a lot of times it's just because things are more expensive. So of course people are spending more, right? But let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there wasting money too. You look at any football game that's on TV and you see the stadium packed full of people. Did they have to go to the game and pay whatever it is, $50, $100 a ticket? Could they have just watched it on TV and saved a lot of money? Of course. So Americans love wasting money. They love entertainment. And when you think about the statistic that 75% of people are in debt, take a look at a football stadium full of people. Three-fourths of those people at the football stadium that spent the $50, $100 for a ticket are in debt. So just because people are buying stuff or going places or buying tickets to games, doesn't mean that they're rich. A lot of these people are just in debt and going further in debt, swiping a credit card to buy tickets. Now let's talk about what William Ackman's out there saying. He's a huge hedge fund CEO. Investor Ackman says U.S. facing classic bubble fueled by Fed's easy money policy. Now when you look at it, you're probably thinking, okay, Captain Obvious, it's a bubble. Tell us something we don't know. Right, that's one way to look at it. It's interesting that these people are so successful, they make billions of dollars, but they can't give us much insight beyond what we already know. But actually, I would disagree a little bit. Calling this a classic bubble is not accurate in my opinion. This is much different than previous bubbles. We've never seen rock bottom interest rates for this long, for over 10 years now. We've never seen the banks being able to loan out money with zero money in reserves. We've never seen this level of intervention. We've never seen QE like this. We've never seen the repo market like this to this level. And we've also never seen the powers that be crush the working class, crush the labor force like we're seeing now. So yes, I think we're definitely in a bubble, and I think he's stating the obvious. But I don't think it's a classic bubble. This is unlike anything we've ever seen. We've never seen home prices this high and yet continue to rise at this pace. This is way beyond any previous bubble. And people are out there thinking that we're still going to get out of this unscathed. I think we've got a big price to pay for all this. You can't just print money. You can't print prosperity. The money printers, they can't come in and print food, and you're going to see food prices continue to go higher. They can't print oil. They can't print gas. You're going to see fuel energy costs go higher, and you're not going to see your wages keep up with this. So again, like we always say, I hope you are investing, trying to make it make more than what we're seeing in the rising cost of living. But it's tough out there, and it's going to continue to get tougher. So please let me know what you think about all this, guys. The resignation with all the CEOs quitting now. What Bill Ackman here says, is the U.S. facing a classic bubble, or is this something beyond any previous bubble? I think it's way beyond. I think we're in the twilight zone as far as bubbles go. It's going to get pretty nasty, folks. I think we're headed for a dark winter. The economic collapse is going to be a continued collapse of the purchasing power of your and my dollar. And the working class, if you're working, you're going to have a much tougher time because they're going to try to make us pay for it. It's the sad truth, folks. Hope you like this daily dose of economic reality. It's not always good news, but I hope it does prepare you for what's ahead of us. Stay well, people. Stay safe. Keep stacking. Bye for now. Peace.